What's up, y'all? GoofyRhexxi here, and hope everybody is doing well. And welcome, guys, to the weekly headliner update, week number 77. Now, if you're new to the weekly headliner, this is where we discuss what is upcoming this week in Marvel Strike Force, and then we recap the important topics from the previous week as well. Now, lots to talk about here on the weekly headliner update. We do have another month-long event, which is going to be for Mighty Thor. We're going to preview that really quickly here, and we're also going to talk about an event that is going to start this week on Thursday that is going to be contributing to the month-long event. So the month-long event is going to be for Mighty Thor, and then we have an event this week, which is going to be for Sunfire. We're going to go over the details for that to make sure that you can try to prep towards grabbing all of them or most of the milestones as you best possibly can here in regards to that event. Also wanted to talk about this as well, the Unlimited X-Men team. A lot of us were down on them. Did we kind of underestimate that team? We're going to be going through that here in this video as well. There's also been a lot of backlash in regards to the Gambit raids. There were some changes that were made, benefited some of the community, but also did not benefit a lot of the community as well. We're going to be talking about that here too. And then the Hero Guardian team is now confirmed as the next required team that you will need for the next Legendary Horseman, which is going to be the War Horseman. So questions that I've been hearing so far is, should I build this Hero Guardian team now? Should this be a priority for me here in this patch? We're going to talk about that in this video and so much more, guys, on the weekly headliner update. And we're going to start right now. All right, y'all, welcome back. Like I said, got lots to talk about here. The first thing I actually wanted to dive into is the Solar Sizzler event. So the Solar Sizzler event here is for Sunfire. Of course, Sunfire is very important. He's a part of the Unlimited X-Men team. You're going to need to build your Unlimited X-Men team in order to be able to get Apocalypse. And Sunfire is actually not that bad. So pretty important event to be able to get some shards for him. But the Solar Sizzler event is also tied towards the month-long event, which is the which is going to be for Mighty Thor, right? So there's going to be Mjolnir fragments that are going to be in this milestone. You're definitely going to want to be able to grab those. So it's twofold the reason why this Solar Sizzler event for Sunfire is definitely going to be very important. In the Solar Sizzler event, if you haven't seen this already, there's 4 milestones in total. You have the main milestone, which is the Solar Sizzler milestone. You also have 2 other milestones where you can get points towards the Solar Sizzler milestone, which is the Heat Storm milestone. And then you also have the Blazing Sun milestone. And then there's a web milestone as well, that is a too hot to handle web milestone, where you can spend some campaign energy and then get some nice little free stuff here from the web milestone. So but the Solar Sizzler milestone obviously is the most important one here. That is the main milestone. This one is going to be a 8-day event. Also want to point out, this is going to start on June 30th, not July 1st. Let's start on June 30th here. So do kind of take, that's going to be Thursday of this week. So do kind of pay attention to that as well. But let's talk about the points and sort of calculations in regards to what you need. In terms of the milestones themselves, if you get to milestone 27, which is 43,500 points, you'll be able to get a 45 shard unlock, a 2-star unlock for Sunfire. If you at least get to milestone 35, which is 93,000 points, you're going to be able to get a 3-star Sunfire. And if you get to milestone 40, which is 200,000 points, then you can get a 4-star Sunfire. But I'm going to tell you this right now, that is very unlikely that you're going to be able to do that unless you're going to be spending some money here. So we're going to be talking about that right now. But for the main milestone, the Solar Sizzler milestone, the point breakdown is like this. So raid battles gives you 200 points, war battles give you 500 points, war battles with Darkhold gives you 200 points, and then you get additional points here depending on their gear tier. So if they're at 13 or 15, you do get some higher points there. You also get points as well for spending your power core. So I kind of broke this down really quickly here. If you use your Darkhold team and they're at G15 and you do 3 attacks with them, right? So for 3 wars in total, you're going to get a total of 15,000 points just for using your Darkhold team at G15 in these war matchups. For your raid matchups, where you do get 200 points, if you do 16 attacks per day, some of you probably do more than that. I'm just going with 16 attacks because I feel like that's more realistic. You do that over an 8-day period, you're going to get a total of 25,600 points. You get 500 points for doing war attacks, 500 points times 11 attacks per day times 3 wars gives you 16,500 points. And then for your power cores, if you're spending 200 power cores per day, you get 3 points per power core. You do that over an 8-day period. That's going to give you 4,800 points. In total, just for the Solar Sizzler milestone, you're going to get 61,900 points, which, as we mentioned, is enough to be able to get you to milestone 27 and past milestone 27. So you'll definitely be able to get the 45 shard unlocked there for Sunfire. Then we do have the Heat Storm and the Blazing Sun milestone. So these milestones will give you Solar Sizzler points. So if you complete the Heat Storm milestone, you get 20,000 Solar Sizzler points. And then you get, for the Blazing Sun milestone, you'll also get 20. If you complete that milestone, you'll also get 20,000 points towards the Solar Sizzler milestone as well. To mention though, with the Heat Storm milestone, how do you even complete that, right? So it's a 4-day milestone where you win Cosmic Crucible battles. So if it's 1,000 points for each win in Cosmic Crucible. So if you break down your trial for the weekend, that is 6 matchups, 6 battles per trial. That's 6 times 3, so that's 18,000 points that you'll be able to get just by winning your Cosmic Crucible matchups. But you definitely need, you're gonna need 20,000 points. This is only going to give you 18,000 points, so you will need to at least win or do at least 2 matchups with an unlimited X-Men character in order for you to be able to gain the extra 2,000 points. So I don't know if any of you guys have built that up yet, but you're definitely probably going to want to at least build up one character. I know I've built up only Gambit on my unlimited X-Men team, so I'm probably going to use him with Uncanny, or use him with, find some matchup where I can use him, where I can get advantage of getting those extra 2,000 points, at least throwing him into 2 matchups so I can get those extra 2,000 points for the Heat Storm milestone, because I definitely want to be able to get all of those 20,000 Solar Sizzler milestone points. And then for your Blazing Sun milestone, this is going to start on July 4th. This is where you are gonna have to do some blitzing. So Blitz wins 60 points. With Sim, you get 50 points there. You can also get to the additional points by using Wakandans. I know some players have built up Wakandans now, and they're actually a better Blitz team now. So they typically tend to win matchups. So you're gonna get some additional points for that as well. So definitely, if you do all of that stuff right, the 61,900 points for the Solar Sizzler milestone, the Heat Storm, the Blazing Sun, in total you're going to be able to get 101,900 points. And I know what you're probably thinking already, like, Goofy, that is not enough for me to be able to get the 4-star Sunfire, is it? It's not. It's definitely not, right? You're still going to be essentially 100,000 points short of being able to get to milestone 40 and being able to get the 4-star Sunfire. However, you will be able to get to at least milestone 35, which will give you that 3-star. You'll be just short of milestone 36, but you can probably, so if you're someone like me where you spend cores to farm ISO campaign energy, you'll definitely be able to get enough points to complete milestone 36 and get the extra 35 shards there. But you're not going to be able to get that 4-star Sunfire unless you're willing to spend money, or unless you have a bank of cores available and you want to spend it to try to get the remaining shards. I probably still wouldn't even do that, because to be honest with you, I'm going to want to save my cores probably for well, maybe it's not a bad time to do it, because maybe you're shooting towards getting extra XP for your levels anyway, so maybe it's not a bad direction to go in. But I don't know, I'm kind of tired of these whale events. I don't like it. It's an easy 3-star free-to-play sort of event here. 4 stars, definitely not great in my opinion. So that part of it always feels bad. I like when you're able to complete these events free-to-play and be able to get all the milestones, as opposed to it being, hey, you can complete most of the milestones, and if you want to complete this, then you have to spend money. Maybe that's just a me thing. What are your guys' thoughts where that is concerned? But that's what you need to do here in order to be able to complete that milestone as we sort of move forward. So prepare for that on Thursday. All right, the next thing I wanted to talk about here is the Unlimited X-Men team, and pretty much basically the question that I asked in the intro was, did we underestimate the Unlimited X-Men team? And I was pretty down on the team. I thought other players and CCs were down on the team, and I want to say this, I think it was definitely still warranted, right? I don't think that they were performing as well as we would have hoped. We're looking at the Darkhold as sort of like the blueprint, right? Great team in their game mode, but also still have multifaceted usages in other areas of the game as well. And they just the Unlimited X-Men team just did not seem as dynamic. Gambit was a little bit of a disappointment, a major disappointment in my opinion, especially with how expensive he was. He's a fan favorite character. He didn't perform up to what our expectations were. So there was quite some disappointment where that is concerned. And I want to say this, they are better than what we thought. They're actually really good in Cosmic Crucible. This is a playtest video here with Dorky Dad. I have another one right here as well with Valley Flying, where he's using them against a couple other teams in Cosmic Crucible. And like I said, they perform very well. They do a very good job in Cosmic Crucible. They're actually going to be a major problem in Room 5 in CC. I just don't know what other team is going to be able to beat them other than probably Dormhold. They beat Darkhold, but Dormhold, there's a little bit of an issue there because Darkhold in general is a tough team to beat, but then you add Dormammu, who then also revives them as well. I mean, it just or gives them the revive mechanic. It's hard to beat them the first time. Now you got to beat them twice. That's sort of an imbalance in my opinion where the game is concerned. And that is definitely probably going to lead to some frustration that you have to build this team. You have to build them probably big, and that they're still not able to beat Dormhold. But I can also see on the other hand, where if you have Dormammu and you have to spend so much time, some players money, in order to be able to get Dormammu, for him to be invalidated probably also wouldn't feel that great either. So yeah, those are kind of like my quick thoughts. They're also a good war defense team as well. I've tried to use an Infinity Watch against them. Using Eternals against them. They did definitely still pose some problems. Those teams can still beat them, but you're not just going to be able to just throw in any rank-eating team against Unlimited X-Men with Rogue on the team and expect that, okay, yeah, they're just going to be able to be walked over as a team. With Rogue, they are definitely a team that's worthy of sort of looking at them and worthy of investment from a Cosmic Crucible standpoint, which I think is a very important game mode if you're sort of going in that direction. So those are my thoughts on Unlimited X-Men. I do think that to a certain extent we did underestimate them. We did underrate them a little bit. They're good in their game mode. Still outside of it though, the jury is definitely going to be out. All right, so backtracking back to this month-long event here, which is a Summer of Thunder event for Mighty Thor. So we're going to be able to get your shards for her. I mentioned this earlier. Mjolnir fragments are what you're going to be able to get for all the milestones that go throughout this month-long event here for Mighty Thor. They mentioned this, some quick math and calculation down here. If you earn 29,500 points, you'll be able to get a 3-star, and if you complete all the milestones, you will be able to get a 4-star Mighty Thor, and of course our fully crafted G16 piece. If you do that as well. And of course they have the leaderboards and things like that towards the end of the milestones too. We're not going to really get into that right now, but they did break down how many milestones are going to be. So there's these 2 alliance milestones, 4 main milestone events, and then they have these 5 quick rumble events that are there as well. So in total, that's like 11 different events, 11 milestones, which is more than what they did in the previous one. The Rolling Rebel, I think, was like 9 milestones. And I do think that there were 10 milestones for the Spider-Woman one. So they're kind of increasing the amount that you have to do here. And I will say this, like I saw a Reddit post that talked a little bit about this. And this was from Big Daddy Milestone here, and shared sort of his sentiment, and I'll read some of it here. So Blitz releases are terrible. And shout out to Big Daddy Milestone because he didn't make this post. Blitz releases are terrible. 99% of the player base gets 3 stars or less through Blitz. I am sure that a higher percentage of players are getting 4 stars from the month-long events than any Blitz release. Most of the stuff is just play the game. If you're only getting to get 3 stars from these milestones, you weren't going to get more than 2 or 3 from Blitz anyways. Gambit raids, which I don't agree with. Gambit raids could be better, and the switch to alliance milestones probably helped some and hurt some, but a 3-star Gambit from a new raid is a lot more fun than a 2 or 3-star Gambit from Blitz while also running the boring Greek raids. Now, I'm not quite sure that I'm not sure a high majority of players are having fun with the Gambit raids. I think a lot of that is sort of tied towards the shards that they're going to be able to get, or not shards, but be able to actually complete the milestone for the Gambit race to get the bracelet. So I'm not quite sure that fun is where people are at, but let's continue. Just to add my perspective, I'm one of those 1% that get a 4-star unlock through Blitz and will get 4-star unlocks of a month-long events, even factored in blitz heavy weeks of some milestones. It is a lot easier to do with a higher quality screen time. If I remember correctly, the blitz heavy milestone from this month were web store milestones that didn't help any progress towards the Dazzler at all, and were something that could have been easily skipped. TLDR, quick complaining about event unlocks before we get blitz unlocks every week again. So listen, I understand his perspective, and I do want to say this before I even dive into my thoughts on this blog post. Blitz month-long events, I don't like either one of them personally. That's just my personal thought process on it. But he definitely does make some good points here, right? Some players are now able to get more shards by having these month-long events if they're willing to sort of play and they're doing some stuff there. And some players generally just like to see new milestones, right? They like to see there's new things that pop up, being able to get some free rewards for doing kind of bare minimum in the game, or just doing their normal regular daily activity in the game. They're able to get some free stuff. So players do typically tend to like that. I personally still am of the notion when it comes to these month-long events, I still think that there's just too many things going on, right? Like that milestone ties to that milestone, this milestone ties to that milestone. Like it's just too much. It's just a lot. It's confusing, right? Like that's sort of kind of my issue with a lot of things. There's also a lot of login time. So while yes, there is not as much, you don't have to log in every 2 hours to blitz, there's still a lot of login time that is required in order for you to be able to kind of do some of this stuff. You have to log in and collect campaign energy sometimes. You have to log in and make sure that for the Gambit raids, you have to get 100% of these raids. So you got to really maximize your energy that you're using, right? Like it's a lot to do. If you miss a day, like if you have a busy day and you miss some stuff, you may not be able to complete the month-long event or a month-long milestone. So that's sort of if you miss a one power core offer, right? Like whoa, and then you probably won't get to that last milestone, or you won't be able to get the last milestone for the shards for that character. So in my opinion, like while it's slightly better, it's still not great, or maybe it is slightly better, maybe it's not. It's still not necessarily great because of how much time you now have to log in, how much screen time that there is to sort of get into this game. So for me personally, like I kind of see it where sure, it's good, but it's also it's better for some, but it's also not great in my opinion. For some players are kind of getting the same results, right? Or you're getting less results. If you're a heavy blitzer, you're probably losing out on shards when it comes to that. Some of the stuff, there is alliance contribution to it, so there's can be some in-game fighting like we're seeing right now with the Gambit raid. So now you have to depend on your alliance mate to then help you to get rewards for a particular event. That also doesn't feel great, right? Like I hate what is it? Which one is the T2 level 4 one? That alliance mod, I hate that one. I'm not really a big fan of that one. I don't like having to depend on anybody else to be able to get rewards to do a thing, right? That's just never something that I'm a huge fan of. So for me, like I get it. Like the blitz stuff, I don't like it either. The month-long stuff, I think they just need to slow down on some of the things they're doing. 11 different milestones in 1 month, stop. How about it be like 5 or 6? I don't mind a month-long event. Just give me less milestones. Give me less things that I need to do in order to be able to get to a goal, right? They're doing too much of that right now, and it's sort of ruining and sucking the fun out of the game if you ask me. Your raid sim didn't really pop off very well. I mean, there's just so many things that are going on. So in my opinion, I understand this post and I slightly agree with some of it, but at the same time, I don't agree with a lot of it. Also, for some of the characters that are featured in this month-long, like for Sunfire, you're only going to get 3 shards of him. And we've seen other events as well where you release other characters where you only get 3 stars of those characters. So while the month-long event is obtainable at 4 stars, it's not necessarily the case for the other characters that are released as a part of that month-long event as well. So those are sort of my thoughts and where things are. But we talked about Gambit raids, right? We might as well. All right, y'all, since we're talking about month-long events, I figured why not talk about this event that's a part of a month-long event, right? The Gambit raids, the Ace of Raids milestones right now. And this is obviously like a big sore spot for the entire community. Originally this was an individual milestone where for week 2, you would have to get to 8,333 points in order to be able to get your Glimmer bracelet. They changed it. They heard our feedback. They heard our frustration about pretty much basically our concerns that players would not be able to get to it unless they were hoarding their resources and waiting to open them up in week 2. they changed it to an alliance-based sort of contributing milestone where all the members in your alliance, whatever playing cards that they do get, then that will contribute to the new milestone here for Ace of Raids, where if you get the milestone 18, get your 191,000 points, you'll be able to get the Glimmer Bracelet. The unfortunate part about this is that while it benefits, I think, most players or a decent amount of players, it also sort of hurt a lot of players as well. Because what if you're in an alliance that you need to hit 100% for these raids, by the way? So even though they made the changes, you still at difficulty 4, the calculations are that difficulty 4, difficulty 5, difficulty 6, you have to hit 100% in a raid in order for you to be able to get enough points towards this milestone to be able to get the Glimmer Bracelet. So what if you're in an alliance where all 24 members are not like tryhards or are not players that can log in and complete and get you to 100% to complete that raid? Then that means that you're going to be losing out on points because you're only going to be getting the 60,000, the 60% completion rewards for those raids. What if you're in an alliance that doesn't have all 24 members, right? Like what if you're in an alliance that people have lives and things to do and can't just always log in to be able to hit 100% and raise it? What do you do then? And that to me is sort of like where I feel like their math was a little bit off, right? Like the previous milestone, it was what, 8,333 points that you had to get. And if you kind of do the breakdown on this, 191,000 divided by 24 is 7,958 points. I mean, it's like they basically did this based on you having all 24 members in an alliance and everybody being able to complete a raid at 100%, which I think is kind of absurd, because why would you have an event with a coveted item like that? Like, I can understand like them requiring 191,000 points based on 24 players to complete all the milestones in a milestone, but not just to get the bracelet. They should have allowed the bracelet to be enabled a little bit earlier than what this is. So the math, I don't know, I just don't like the math and how they did this. Overall, there's a frustration from the player base as well, because the CM Archangel said that you don't need to hoard, because a lot of players were hoarding their previous week 1 rewards and we're going to open them up in week 2. But the statement was made that if you're in a decent alliance, and unfortunately this was in the private chat, but it was shared, that he did say that if your alliance doesn't suck, that you shouldn't have to hoard and you'll be able to get to this milestone. And that was just, I don't think that he meant that maliciously. I don't think that he meant to mislead anyone. Obviously the results are there, and when things like that are said and when things like that are shared, it kind of can come back to you, right, in sort of a negative way. And that's sort of the way that I'm looking at things right now. I don't think that he meant this as ill intent. I don't know if Scopy meant this as ill intent, but either way, this is what it is right now, and a lot of players are frustrated because they won't be able to complete this. So my thing is this: do they go back? Do they throw out compensation? Do they give out points so that players will be able to complete this? I think this is definitely something that they should consider, because having a milestone where, dude, you have to get to 100% to complete to get this, I don't like it. I get it if I had to do that to get here, that's fine, but to be able to get this. And then a lot of players are asking the question, hey, does my alliance suck if I'm not able to complete the milestones? And I know the frustration is there, guys, and I completely understand it. To be fair too, like I thought about this as well, like the 100% rate completion thing, it's kind of downright predatory, right? Because you have players in an alliance that kind of probably going to feel bad if their alliance only gets to 98%, right? Like for instance, yesterday we had a member in my alliance that didn't get to do enough attacks, and we got to 98%, weren't able to complete the raid, and he felt bad about it, right? And he was like, all right, I'm gonna buy an offer just to make up for it. And we were just like, don't do that, but he did it anyways. And you know, but that's the type of stuff, like the game is downright so predatory, like when you do things like this. I'm just not a fan of it, and I wish that they would really kind of consider some of the actions that they take, and some of the things that, and how they sort of take advantage of other players when they do things like this as well. Those are just kind of my thoughts, but let's move on here. I wanted to talk about some other things. Raid Sim, this was a big topic from last week as well. There was some feedback from the devs that talked about this. The dev team has heard player feedback regarding the new raid system feature. We're currently reviewing this feedback and investigating the feature itself to ensure that it is functioning as intended. We will update you when the investigations and discussions have concluded, likely next week, this was sent out last week. Appreciate your patience in the interim. So a lot of players are upset in regards to Raid Sim. It's not working as what we intended for it. That's not what Scopely intended, but as what we intended for it. I jumped back to the blog post that they talked about this. This is right here. They talked about Raid Sim. Available in the Doom Ultimates and Greek raids on select nodes for commanders level 62 and up. We'll be able to use the new Raid Sim feature. The aim of the Raid Sim is to allow you to cruise through the easier earlier nodes to afford more time to strategize for the more difficult later nodes. Doom raids and Ultimates raids will allow you to sim approximately up to 60% of the raid, while you'll be able to sim approximately up to 80% of the Greek raids. We'll be closely monitoring the effects of Raid Sim on overall gameplay to ensure it's having the intended impact. So I think a lot of us, the way that we interpreted this was that we would be able to sim the raid to get an auto win, right? As opposed to basically kind of going into the node and then hit an auto, which is essentially which is what the feature is, right? It's essentially like you loading into a raid, hitting the auto button, and then them kind of going ahead and doing their thing. A lot of us expected that we would be able to kind of hit Raid Sim for the earlier nodes and be able to get through those nodes automatically. We thought that there would probably be a system tied towards that where you would have to 3-star the nodes a couple times first, or 3-star the node first before you were able to do that. That feature was not implemented, and that was sort of kind of what threw us a little bit off here. So some of it I will say is our interpretation, but also I think a lot of it is sort of like the not clear and it not being clear enough in the blog post in regards to how information was presented. So I don't know, like I another issue too I've heard from a lot of players is that players are losing nodes that they would normally go into and hit auto and win, right? So like for Doom raids, like some of the bio nodes, like somebody sent me a screenshot of them losing the bio boss node. They were just like, yo, bro, I usually win this node. And there was a player that shared that he used to, so his mutant team is all G16 and he usually goes into the node, hits auto, and he's able to win that matchup. Did Raid Sim, he lost the matchup. So it's like, what is going on? I don't know if this is exactly, I don't know if this was their intent. Raid Sim is probably not working the correct way, and I don't know. I don't know if I ever thought that they were going to do this the right way, so I'm not surprised by it. But I definitely I can feel the players' frustration where this is concerned. So hopefully they make some changes with this. I would like to see them add that feature where you could 3-star a node and then you could get the Raid Sim and it would automatically win it. Like that's what the feature that I would like to see them implement here into the Raid Sim function. But sort of kind of wrap it up with a few things here. We did get some information talking about this. The Hero as Guardian team is going to be the next required team for the next legendary horseman, which is going to be the third horseman. That horseman is going to be the War Horseman. Now we don't know if the War Horseman is going to be specifically for the war game mode. We don't know that as of yet, but of course they did mention it's going to be for a particular, each horseman is going to be for a particular game mode. We don't have a war character yet, so I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they do choose to go in that direction. But Hero as Guardian team is going to be the team that's going to be required. I've had some questions in regards to, hey, like, should I build my Hero as Guardian team right now? Like, now that they're going to be the team, like, should I prioritize them this patch? And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to lean towards a no on this. And I'll tell you the reason why. Wait to see what the other teams are going to be first. There might be a team that, keep in mind that the Hero as Guardian team is a war defense team. And while Young Avengers is a sensational team, that's not just a war defense team, they can be used in other areas of the game as well. Hero as Guardian may be in that same boat. But at the same time, what if the other team is actually the primary team that's not been released yet or has not been announced yet, right? What if that team is the primary team and the Hero as Guardian team is just one of those teams? I would wait to find out, and then I would make a decision as to what I want to invest into then. Because maybe you don't need to bring up your Hero as Guardians as high. Maybe your Hero as Guardians are your sack team. Because yes, players will try hard the Scourge event. I am not try harding Scourge. I'm trying to get a 5-star rogue. That's sort of kind of how I'm moving forward with things. I know a lot of other players are probably going to be doing the same thing as well. So that's, I would say this. Now, me personally, I'm going to invest into Hero as Guardians because Thor's on the team. So that's just a me thing, right? But I'm making that decision not based on Scourge. I'm making a decision based on me. So I would say if you're looking to make a decision just based on Scourge, I would hold off, I would wait, and then sort of kind of make your decision from there. So those are my thoughts, guys. Omega Red is finally returning. So that's going to be tonight. Congratulations to those who are going to be getting Omega Red. I'm going to be getting my 7-star Omega Red, so excited about that. I actually put it off the last time because I just didn't want to spend the gold on the creeping in. So that's just me. That's just a personal thing for me. But looking forward to being able to get my 7-star Omega Red. He's amazing. He's going to be amazing. He's amazing in Arena. And I'm looking forward to being able to use him in the legendary section of the Dark Dimension 5 right now, whenever I get to it in 3 years. I'm kidding. I've already completed Cosmic, but I'm just waiting for gear. But listen, guys, appreciate you guys watching the video. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Hopefully you liked the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so that you know when the videos do go live. And until next time, guys, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.